A MIDI interface is required to connect your computer to the MIDI devices in your studio. A MIDI interface lets your computer and your MIDI instruments communicate with one another. There are basically two types of MIDI interfaces, standard and multi-port. The fundamental difference between these two types is in the number of MIDI channels that they can access. At its most basic, you can think of each MIDI channel as an individual performer in an orchestra, capable of playing his own musical part on his own musical instrument. The MIDI specification supports 16 MIDI channels. Therefore, a standard MIDI interface that's connected to one of your computer's serial ports gives you access to 16 different MIDI channels. The interface shown in this example has 3 MIDI output jacks, so you can connect up to 3 MIDI devices directly to it, but you can still access a total of only 16 MIDI channels. In this example, the Proteus 2 might communicate on MIDI channels 1 through 9, the R8M might communicate on MIDI channel 10, and the ESI32 might use MIDI channels 11 through 16. If you have a standard MIDI interface with 2 serial port connectors, such as the Studio 3, you can access 32 MIDI channels, 16 on the modem port and 16 more on the printer port. Basically, a 32-channel interface is nothing more than 2 separate 16-channel standard interfaces in a single box. On the other hand, multi-port interfaces such as the Studio 4 or Studio 5 break the 16-channel barrier. In these interfaces, each MIDI input-output pair on the interface can access 16 individual and separate channels. So in this example, the Proteus 2 can communicate on all 16 of its MIDI channels. Also, the R8M can use all 16 of its channels, as can the ESI32. Compare this to a standard MIDI interface which allows only 16 total MIDI channels. Since the Studio 4 has 8 pairs of MIDI ports, it supports 128 MIDI channels, the equivalent of a 128-piece orchestra. A Studio 5 has 15 pairs of MIDI ports, so it supports 240 MIDI channels. You can network multi-port interfaces together. So, for example, you can network 6 Studio 5s for a total of 1,440 separate MIDI channels.